There we go. It is Jacob Warren, Tennessee tight end, and it's the Vol Report brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Love to visit with him each and every week. If you enjoy conversations with the Vols, hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate that. It helps us grow and get to more listeners, watchers, and we appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that. We'd love your notifications to be on. So, Jacob, first of all, Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas.
You
Merry Christmas.
You have been a blessing to my endeavor this year, and you are greatly appreciated.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you as well, man. You know that.
Cool. Now, let's talk some ball here because
Yeah.
it's so weird the shiftiness of a bowl game, and then you have signing day, which I know doesn't affect you directly, but it
Yeah.
affects what all goes on with the program. Are
Yeah.
these days? But you don't have class, so are these days hectic, or are they a little bit more relaxed, and you get to focus on ball? How would you describe the interim?
Definitely more laxed, I think. It's I don't know, it's weird. It's a little hectic in the morning, right? You get up and um, go to meetings just like normal, have practice and get your treatment and try to get extra meetings and stuff. But um, at the end of the day, you don't have much class to worry about. You don't have schoolwork in the back of your head, lingering. You don't have really, you know, anybody else on campus to distract you, right? Everybody's pretty much gone for the holidays. So it's not like you're, got to do this and got to do that and got to meet with any professors or whatever. So, yeah, it's time we can all kind of just hang out. And we've been spending a lot of time, me and some of my buddies on the team, just a lot of time just hanging out after practice and, uh, you know, playing board games or playing video games or, running around trying to find Christmas gifts for family members and doing all that fun stuff. So
Best board game is
the only board game that we really play is Catan. I don't know if you know what Catan is.
no.
Some people say Catan. It's not Catan. It's Catan, but it's zero way I'm explaining it. I think Monopoly, in terms of how you buy things and you upgrade your developments, I guess. You expand, so you move across this board. The whole board is an island. Look it up if you have no clue what I'm saying. Maybe look it up and make it a little bit easier. But the whole
Is
board
it
is like this big island, and there's different spaces, and you can move around the board and settle in different areas and collect resources and buy roads and settlements and cities and all types of stuff. It sounds complicated because you can't really see it, but it's a
does
great
it
game.
does it take as long as Monopoly? Because my kids won't play Monopoly with me because it takes so long.
It definitely can't take as long as Monopoly. There's like different, I guess, types of the game. There's the base game, and then there's like different packs that you can buy. And we've played games that have lasted 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours,
Well,
which it is extreme, but it's fun. We have a good time. It gets really competitive.
no, I'm in. I can play Monopoly every single night. I love that game. Every, everybody asked you at a recent press conference about coming back, and
Hmm.
you want to focus on the Orange Bowl, and I totally get that. And you got a lot to look at. You got a lot more feedback to get, I would think. So now it's not
Yeah,
really the time. But
yeah,
if you could kind of talk about the factors that would go in that decision whether or not to go to the NFL or come back.
yeah. So obviously, I've got to look at this and just analyze it and thinking about it based on what's best for me, right? And there's obviously opportunities at both, right? There's opportunities for me to go on and have a successful career and bet on myself in that way of going and making a team and being able to work my way through whatever, regardless of where I were to get drafted or undrafted or whatever it may be. Obviously, there's all the predictions and everything that there may be. But at the end of the day, the film speaks for itself, and I think that there would be someone right that'd be willing to give me an opportunity to play in that league. And so yeah, you look at that and you look at coming back of I've got a place here that cares about me and. Uh, I think I'll have a lot of the support of fans and of everybody else. So people will be happy to see me come back at the same time. And um, obviously I love this place. It's my home. Family lives right down the street, so that's also big opportunities for me just to kind of be comfortable here and play another year with a team that I love. So it's just a matter of trying to decide. Once there's nothing else on my plate, right? Once it's truly just I can sit down and I can pray about it and make my decision with a sound mind and just decide what's best for me and for my future. So obviously, once I make that decision, I think everybody will probably see it, and one way or another, I think people will support me and what I want to do. So
Well, I've told you this. You're going to be successful if you go to the NFL now, next year. If you decide to become a kinesiologist, if you decide to work for ESPN, whatever you decide to do, you're going to be successful. So know that you're in good shape,
for sure.
think about that decision. I know it's kind of a tough one, but know at the end of the day, 5 years from now, you're going to be successful no matter what. So I would
Yeah,
pass that along to you.
yeah. Thank
Um,
you.
you're as far as coming into a school, we got some big names that come
Yeah,
in, and you were able to kind of grow. But there are some other guys that are going to transfer in, and I want to talk about each of them.
yeah.
But they're going to be expected, and we're going to talk about Nico too. But they're going to be expected to contribute pretty quickly. How
Hmm.
much how much of a different challenge is that as opposed to you were able to come in and grow as a player and as a man? It seems like there's a lot on some young shoulders in the modern era of college football.
Yeah, I think you talk about transfer guys, right? Transfer guys coming in and almost being expected to you know expected from people here, and also I think they expect it within themselves, right? Like you would transfer somewhere that you didn't think that you could play at, or if you that you didn't think that you would at least have a chance to go and play significant snaps. And so yeah, I think there is a higher expectation for transfers to come in and to kind of already be, I guess, polished in a way, and be ready to kind of just be plugged into a system. Once they learn the system, they'll be just fine. Um, Obviously, that's not always the case, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily pan out just for one reason or another. But I think it's definitely different for young kids nowadays too. Even like the freshmen coming straight out of high school is, there's all this expectation because I don't know, for whatever it may be. Like you said, I came into college and no one really I don't know. It's a little bit unique just because of my situation, but no one expected me to play my freshman year. No one expected me to play my sophomore year, and that was because my body wasn't ready to play. I was a good talent, and I don't think I was necessarily as good back then for sure as I am now. So obviously I've grown, I've developed, but I've also gotten bigger, gotten stronger, gotten smarter, a lot more confident in my game. And yeah, it's unfortunate that sometimes kids don't necessarily have that opportunity to grow, but I think it's also big because that kid might be forced to grow up a little bit quicker. You know what I mean? It might be forced to kind of get thrown in the fire and go see if they're gonna if they're gonna thrive or what. So just depends on how you look at it. If you're a person that is super driven and hungry, which I'm not saying I wasn't, but if you're someone that is like, yeah, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to try to start the first day I step on campus, um, then that expectation is good. But if you're somebody that, like me, who needed a couple years of development to get to the point where they were going to be competitive, um, I guess it could be it could be unfortunate the pressure and the expectation that's put on them now.
Well, and the other thing, how about the mentality of it of suddenly being a
Yeah,
football player that takes up a tremendous amount of hours, being a full time student athlete, having to go to class, and all of that. How much of a shock was that to you? Maybe you handled it better than some other people, but you come in and it's more than a full time job from the get when you include going to class and being a football player.
yeah, I think it's tough at first, and then you kind of just realize that it's just life. It's just what we've chosen to do. And that's truly how you have to look at it. You have to look at it as I choose to do this every single day. I am, making this decision, and I made that decision on signing day that I was going to commit to this process. And this process, if you understand, and I've had good people to look up to, like my dad. My dad played, obviously, right. I just know a lot of people kind of in this space before, so um, whenever things got tough, it was like, man, like my dad had to tell me, like, bro, like I promise you, this is normal. You feeling like you don't want to be there is normal. You feeling like you don't, like, man, this is really hard. Like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, it's totally normal. And so having people like that kind of just to push me along and to kind of get me through those days. But um, Yeah, no, I think another thing that's weird is you go from being a really big fish in a little pond, right? You're the top recruit. Anyone that's here at Tennessee was probably the best player on their high school football team, unless they just went to some crazy high school that was really good at football. So most times these guys are used to being the best on their team and the biggest, the strongest, the fastest. And the second you step on campus, like none of that matters anymore because you got guys that are 22 years old like me, right? That are just as that are bigger than you, stronger than you, faster, like, and you have to kind of learn how to adjust and how to kind of catch up and get yourself where you need to be, and you have that realization pretty quickly, I think, once you step on campus.
I know a lot of people want to hear about the incoming guys, including Nico. I want to get to that. I want to remind everyone the Ball Report is brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Whether you're in Nashville, Knoxville, or Chattanooga, man alive, it's worth the drive to Bassey Lawn and Garden with the industrial mowers, with the commercial mowers, and the residential mowers and lawn care equipment. They're going to take you to a whole different level because they're able to purchase at a higher volume so you can build your business, especially if you're talking about industrial commercial mowers. You can build your business on better prices. That's always a good way to go. So the Vol Report with Jacob is brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden, man alive, it's worth the drive. So to bring a tight end in as a
Yeah.
Princeton fan is moving on, and it's a guy that I think is pretty interesting. When I watched him on tape, Christian McCallan.
Mhm.
What do you think of him? Have you had a chance to work with him and get to know him so far?
Yeah, McCallan is a guy that came in and he was kind of shy at first. Obviously, as I feel like anyone would be, most normal people would be pretty. He wasn't intimidated, but was just kind of quiet at first, and then kind of getting to talk to us more and just kind of being around us at practice and in meetings and stuff has definitely opened up, and I think fits really well in our room. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to really like watch him perform much, but have watched some of his film, and uh, very good athlete, very good with the ball in his hands. And I think you know will be a good addition to the team. I don't know. He as long as we get along with him, truly, like I'm happy with him. So um, should be good.
So if I'm McAllen Castles and I'm at a place like uh, UC Davis, and I come to
Yeah.
Tennessee with those facilities, is there a
Hmm.
wow? Is there a bit of a wow factor?
Yeah. No, we were in our dining hall, Smokies, right? And Smokies is by far probably one of the best training tables, one of the best dining facilities for athletes in the nation. And somebody was complaining about the food, right? Which, whatever, we eat it every single day. So I guess you're allowed to complain if something's not how you want it. But someone was complaining about the food. And I'm like, this kid in McCallan was sitting there next to us. And I'm like, this kid just came from UC Davis. Like, they probably didn't have a cafeteria, right? Like, he was like, no, like, we paid for all of our food. Like, we just went to, like, they obviously they probably had like stipend and stuff like they could use.
Yeah.
But we went to a grocery store and we cooked our food, or we went out to eat or whatever, and we're literally sitting there eating like steak and pasta and broccoli and stuff that other people are making for us, and we're complaining about it at the same time. This kid is like, whoa, like this is amazing, this is awesome, which it is. But yeah, no, for sure, I'm sure he is more than grateful to be at a place like Tennessee where you pretty much have everything that you need or that you could want right there at your fingertips. So
That's got to be a big difference. And
yeah.
then another guy that I want to ask you about the offensive lineman, Andre Currick, who comes in. I talked to Cooper Mays about him, and he's on the
Hmm.
YouTube page. So be sure and subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. But he's been impressed already by Andre. What have you been able to glean in the short time that he's been on campus?
Yeah, I just appreciate how Andre kind of came in and I guess a little bit different than McCallan. Like, was very open and was very much you know comfortable being around us, and walked up to him and had didn't have like a super deep conversation, but just felt like I had already known him, right? Like I introduced myself to him, he introduced himself to me, and told him I was happy he was there. And since then it's just been real easy to kind of just nothing felt weird, right? You say hey to him and like just ask him how he's doing, just kind of like he already fits in, I guess with the guys and whatever. So obviously Cooper may know a little bit more about him as an offensive lineman or whatever because he's in the same room with him. But yeah, I appreciate just kind of his openness since the day he got here.
Cooper pointed out that Nico Iamaleava and that he was pretty big guy as far as his frame,
Yeah,
as far as being tall. And is that one of the things that stood out to you? I know you've met him before, but just his size. He may have grown an inch since since you met him the
yeah.
first time.
Is that
What
how you pronounce it?
I'm
I don't
doing?
think that's how you.
You do it, Jacob. You do it. I'll do the best I can.
It's
You do.
Iamaleava. I don't know. I don't know, dude.
Oh, I'm glad to
Whatever.
know you're struggling because I'm struggling a little bit too. Let's call it
Whatever.
Nico.
Yeah, Nico. Nico is easy. Yeah, no, Nico's cool, man. Nico is definitely, I guess, bigger than some people may think, right? He's just as tall as me, right? Which he's probably 6'6", whatever, and obviously needs to probably put some weight on, just like every freshman that comes in. Like needs to add a little bit of weight in his legs and his shoulders and his back and whatever. But man, just super talented, and kind of lives up to that hype, I guess that um, we've all heard, right? His just his arm and his accuracy, and I think we'll take a little bit of time to get his timing down with our receivers and with tight ends and the backs and everything. But once he does, I'm sure he'll be just fine, and he'll thrive. So
I keep hearing, despite the fact that he was a big name recruit, I keep hearing that he's very approachable, that
yeah.
he is very humble. How much of that have you seen?
Yeah, dude, since the day that I met him, which was I met him, I guess met him on social media, right? Obviously he's got this big presence and stuff, but um
He's
whatever, just had followed each other and it was cool. Like he followed me back, whatever, and just he like hit like DM me or something. It's like, yo, bro, like, I don't even remember what he was asking. But then the first time that I actually met him in person was in the facilities. He was on a visit one day for something, one weekend, I guess, and was with a couple of his family members and stuff, and I go to meet him and stands up out of the chair like just as he should, right? Not should, but I shouldn't say that. Like stands up out of the chair as I probably would if I were to meet someone new. Like daps me up, whatever. Like says like it's good to actually like finally meet you, and so then kind of we start building this little relationship, and every time he would come up to Knoxville, I'd make sure to say hey to him, and yeah, never once have I gotten um, that energy that he necessarily feels like he's better than anybody or that he deserves anything. He's kind of just come in and just been himself, and he's not a quiet person necessarily, but he hasn't caused a lot of waves. He hasn't stirred a lot up. I mean, just him being here is not taking anything away from this program, which is all you can really ask. He's truly just coming in to try to acclimate himself and become comfortable with all the guys. And I can appreciate when people are nice to our kickers and our specialists because I'm like really good friends with all of our kickers and our specialists. And so like to me, it's normal to be nice to them, but like that's not how it is in a lot of programs. Not a lot, but a lot of times like, oh, it's just the kickers, like whatever. But this program does a really good job of like kind of embracing them. They're just regular guys. I don't want to talk like they're different, but Nico is like we're surrounded by them in our little locker area, and he's awesome. Like he's dope with it. Like he's very nice to all of them, and as he should be, right? He's like whatever. I don't want to put him on a pedestal, but I appreciate him and his genuineness and how kind he is to people. So
Is that where they put the freshman is next to the kicker?
next to the kickers, well, I'm next to him too, so I don't know I don't know what that says about me.
Well, then everything's good then because
Yeah.
you're obviously mature and ready to go. So,
Right.
has there been a wow moment where you saw him physically, either maybe he tucked and ran, or he just threw the ball and whizzed it? Has there been a moment where you said, "This guy's a pretty special athlete at quarterback"?
Yeah, I mean he hasn't gotten too involved, right, with just our offense and live reps or anything like that. I think once he does, I think he'll kind of have those moments where it's like, oh yeah, that is a play that not many people could have made. But I mean, as we're just going through, routes on air and just kind of catching footballs from them in practice and stuff, just kind of like I said, like his accuracy and just those are a pretty spiral, right? Like those a nice ball and um, again, the timing thing is whatever. But yeah, I guess I was somewhat impressed with just kind of how he came out of the gate, pretty confident, was able to throw the ball and I don't know, show what he could do. I guess.
Okay. Last thing, favorite Christmas song is.
Mm. Ooh. Probably
Do you mean to give you? So Cooper went with
give
Silent
me give
Night.
me give me a give me a list. Give me a 1, 2, 3, and I'll rank them.
Okay. Cooper went with Silent Night, so we'll put that on there. I
Okay.
went with Bruce Springsteen. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Okay.
And then let's throw in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Man, I'll take Santa Claus is coming to town, and then I'll take Rudolph, and then I'll take Silent Night. Silent Night is a little too slow for me. At church, great, I'm loving it. But like, if I'm just listening to Christmas music, probably not listening to that. And now like, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I like that one too. That one's smooth. Um, so whatever. I don't listen to a whole lot of it, but I can get in the Christmas spirit.
No, I think Mariah Carey sings one too, and basically anything Mariah Carey sings is pretty good.
It's a hit. Yeah, yeah. She's the goat.
He is Jacob Warren. I'm Dave Hooker. Merry Christmas to you, young man. Hope you
Thank you.
have a fantastic holiday. You know, I'm a fan of your family as well. So have a blessed weekend and Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas, all the family watching. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Merry Christmas, everybody.
He is Jacob Warren, the Vol Report, brought to you by Bassey Lawn and Garden. Man alive, it is worth the drive. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.